evening from the Mugello circuit here in Italy for the opening round of the 2022 MotoGP eSport Global Series. It is so good to be here on site at this fantastic venue, of course, of Mugello in the Tuscan Hills. Great to see the fans as well here at the racetrack. We are in the fan zone at the circuit. We haven't been able to see them for the last couple of seasons, and we're all excited to get racing, all excited to get gaming. I've just been backstage and the gamers are all a little bit nervous, getting themselves G'd up before this one. Before we meet them though, we have to give a big warm welcome to our ever popular MotoGP eSport commentators, Jack Appleyard and Jack Gorst. The Jacks, how you doing, chaps? How much are you looking forward to eSport this year?
Yeah, good evening, Gav. Good evening, everyone watching at home. An absolute pleasure to be here once again, ahead of what we anticipate being probably the best year of MotoGP eSport action we've ever seen. Why is that, you might be asking? Well, we've got more races than ever. We've got more gamers than ever. And luckily, it all starts tonight, Jack.
Yeah, it certainly does. All starts tonight with two fantastic races coming up for you just in a very short amount of time. And there's plenty of reason why our gamers are going to be excited and also nervous. There's some big changes in both the factory Ducati and the factory Suzuki lineup. And there's a few returning faces and a couple of rookies as well. As we head in tonight, those stories in 2022 will start to unfold. But before we dive into the racing action ahead of us, we have to learn a little bit more and throw back down to Gav about how the gamers got here this evening.
Has to be one of the most competitive lineups ever. Some old rivalries definitely going to get fired up. But as you said, 12 riders will be taking part in the 10 rounds. That's 10 races across 5 races this year. And those 12 riders all had to qualify to get to this place. Let's find out how they made it through to the Global Series.
It's time to get ready for the action as the MotoGP eSport Championship returns for 2022. Here's how our 12 gamers got selected.
First up, in the Pro Draft phase, gamers battled it out on track in time attack mode across 4 online challenges at specific tracks with chosen riders.
Gamers accumulated points across the 4 challenges, with the top 24 plus the 3 from the Rising Stars series of last year qualifying for the draft selection, where our 12 MotoGP teams chose their riders.
So here we are at the Global Series with the first round, and we'll have 5 rounds and a mighty 10 races in total this year.
And when all is said and done, the gamer with the most points at the end of the Global Series will be crowned our new MotoGP eSport World Champion.
As you can see, all of the 12 gamers are up here on stage, including our reigning champion too. As was just mentioned there by the Jacks, we will have 2 races this evening. The first of those will take place at a damp and tricky Sachsenring. And of course, our second race, where else could it be than here at the Mugello circuit? So we've got those 2 races to look forward to. But as I've said, we've got our 12 gamers up here on stage. It's probably about time to see which one of them will start off their campaign to be the 2022 MotoGP eSport World Champion. Let's meet the 12 gamers taking part this year.
Three rookies in 2022. The first, Tati Go. He'll be flying the flag for Indonesia and Gresini Racing. The second, Spadalongo, who flies the flag for VR46. And the third, RNF with you, Yamaha's Vindex, the 2020 and 2021 Rising Stars champion, finally getting his chance.
Davide Galini returns to the series after a 2021 hiatus. He rides for Aprilia. Dark Bright enters his second year in the Global Series, and it will be his second year with Tech 3 KTM as well. Piero Ricciuti won the big movers at the off-season. He rides for Factory Ducati after securing second in the world last year.
Jack Hammer remains in orange for 2022, looking to add to the podium he got last year in his rookie season. Mr. TFTW is the lovable Australian and he's set for his 4th year, now with the Prima Pramac Racing Squad. And Christian MM17 has been on the championship podium 3 times, but the LCR Honda man is aiming to bounce back after a winless 2021.
And so then to our big 3, the first of which, Andrea Severi, now rides in light blue with Suzuki. Adrian is the second, the 2020 World Champ, we're looking to pinch back his crown that he lost last year for Repsol Honda. And there's the man they're all chasing, the 3-time MotoGP eSport Global Series World Champion, Trastevere for Monster Energy Yamaha.
So we have now met our 12 competitors. It's time to get racing. It's time to get gaming. And joining us to talk us through this first race, up in the commentary position, we have a very special guest for this one. He rides in Moto2 for the American racing team. It is the Californian Cameron Beaubier. He's up there with the two Jacks. And when it comes to the eSport world, particularly as regards the MotoGP eSport Championship, he's pretty good. I've heard, Jack, that he's pretty handy with a controller in his hand. Am I right?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct, Gav. I wouldn't even say he's pretty handy. I'd go as far as saying you're very handy, Cameron, because back in 2019, you actually qualified for the pro draft part of the MotoGP eSport Championship, meaning you are one of the fastest men in the world on the MotoGP eSport game. So, how do you do it? Tell us how good you are.
I definitely wouldn't give me that much credit. I actually remember making it through that first round and everything, and I put together like a perfect lap, and I was all stoked. I was taking screenshots and sending them to some of my buddies back home that I play with. But man, I got demoralized pretty quick to see how fast some of these guys are. It's pretty impressive. I was watching qualifying yesterday just to kind of get a feel on things, and it's pretty impressive just how consistent these guys are. They're coming in, you know, changing, throwing a new soft in, and going out and throwing it down. So it's going to be good to watch the race.
And in terms of the lap that you did to qualify for the 2019 eSport, that first round, was it a lot of hours or was it just one lucky lap?
Oh no, it's plenty of hours.
Sometimes that's what it needs, though. It's good to know that you're able to put the graft in on the eSport game as well as racing out there in the Moto2 paddock. Cameron, great to have you with us. You're going to be a co-commentator for our opening race. And Jack, qualifying got underway yesterday for our first race of 2020.
Certainly did. Now, we know how fast Cameron is, but we need to go and have a look at how quick the boys are on the stage that we see behind us. So, qualifying from yesterday, as Jack said, qualifying in wet Sachsenring. Let's see exactly how the grid will line up for this race one of the 2020 Global Series.
Position went the way of Suzuki's Andrea Severi. The Italian has switched across from the red of Ducati to the blue of Suzuki, and he's done that in fantastic style by taking a 9th career pole position. He is the man with the most pole positions in the MotoGP eSport Championship. He's going to be joined on the front row of the grid by the Montenegro brothers, Adrian riding for Repsol Honda and Christian MM17 riding for LCR Honda. Second row of the grid, 3 more men that have got podium experience. Jack Hammer on the KTM, our reigning champion Trastevere, and Piero Ricciuti, who's about to make his debut in the factory Ducati colours. It's a blockbuster grid, Jack, ahead of our opening race of the year.
Yeah, it certainly is a blockbuster grid, and we've got all the big hitters right up where we want to see them. So for race one in Sachsenring, it is quite a tricky track, as you see there. It is wet as well, which is an added element. And now, Cameron, you've been around Sachsenring before. I don't know if you've rode it in the wet, but if there was one key to unlocking performance in Sachsenring, what would you say it is?
I'd say, especially from my experience there on a Moto2 bike, it's really easy to break too deep. And on a Moto2 bike, you really just want to let the thing flow through the corners, and it's going to be tricky here in the wet, that's for sure.
Yeah, it certainly is. And, well, basically, Jack, it's time to really get into the nitty-gritty, all the details before we go racing.
It is, yeah. Just before we go racing, let's then take a look at all of the important information you need to know ahead of our race at the Sachsenring. 2022 Global Series is here, and we head to Germany and the Sachsenring with the rain falling and posing a real threat to our gamers. If you're new to the series, well, balanced performance is turned on, meaning all 12 bikes are exactly the same, with tyre and fuel consumption at proportionate, meaning that the riders need to make sure that they're careful with both fuel and tyre consumption.
And in terms of the circuit itself, it's actually one of the shortest we go to, just 3.6 kilometres in length with 10 left turns. And trust me, those left turns, they never end. All the way through from turn 4, right the way up through to turn 10, before they drop down the waterfall at Leven there. That is one of the key points on this Sachsenring circuit. Long lap penalty is located at turn 1. Watch out for them at the final corner on the final lap. Let's go racing in Germany.
Here we go then, the wait is finally over. After thousands of gamers applied at the start of 2022, we've whittled it down to 12, all dreaming of lifting the MotoGP eSport Championship in Valencia in a few months' time. The first chapter of 2022 is about to unfold as we go racing at the Sachsenring.
So here we go then, race 1 of the 2022 MotoGP eSport Global Series. It's probably the trickiest one there will be all year. Wet weather conditions in Sachsenring, 22 degrees air temperature, so nice and toasty for them at least, even though it is wet. But Jack, I mean, my money's out on this one as to who's going to win this.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult to call, especially because of the conditions as well. We saw our first ever race in the wet at the Sachsenring last year, and a number of contenders crashed out halfway through. This is the grid then. We've run you through it earlier on. That front row is Severi with Suzuki, Adrian on the Repsol Honda, Christian on the LCR machine. Second row of the grid, Jack Hammer with KTM, Trastevere with Yamaha, and Piero Ricciuti with Ducati. And then the third row of the grid, Vindex on the RNF with you, Yamaha making his debut in the Global Series, Aprilia's Davide Galigna, and then Tech Trois KTM start right. The final row of the grid, Spadalongo, Tatigo, and Mr. TFTW. Keep an eye on the Australian. Failed to set a time in qualifying yesterday, so he will be one of the hard chargers from 12th on the grid. Here we go then, 10 laps ahead of us at the Sachsenring. The lights are on and the Global Series is officially underway in 2022. The number 11 fires away from pole position brilliantly, but keep your eye on Christian on the LCR on the inside. He's going to take the whole shot. A great start from the young Spaniard, and his brother's going to settle into second behind him. Who's that that's gone off in the background? Looks like it could be the Aprilia of Davide Galigna. At the front though, it's picture perfect start for Christian. All was anyway. He runs wide and hands the lead over to brother, the 2020 champion, Adrian.
I was just about to say the Montenegro brother 1-2 lasted all for one corner, but it looked like he might have just got it back. But no, Trastevere slots into second place. So we've got our two most recent champions right there at the front. This could be a battle right the way into the flag. Adrian, though, this is the perfect start. If there's anyone that can pull away from all of these guys, it could be this man.
Cameron, just how important is it to start an opening race of the season from the front row? And then he's gone down. The champion's gone down. And who's that that's gone wide in the background? That's your pole man, Andrea Severi. A lot of these guys have been caught out by the conditions, and you can understand why as well. They've had plenty of practice, but the rain does differentiate from race to race, and you can see as they flicked it left there, a lot of them had zero grip whatsoever, and that's meant that your champion from last year is struggling way outside of the top 5.
Yeah, struggling indeed. It looks as though Darkright's going to try and pinch up the inside of him as we come into the end of lap 1. No, there's going to be loads of contact in the background. Cameron, if you had a first like this man, Adrian, what's in your thoughts now? Is it just get into that rhythm as early as possible?
I'd say so. Adrian, yeah, he's got clear track up ahead, and with a tricky conditions like that, I think that's everything. So, yeah, he's just got to put his laps in and be consistent.
So as we can see, after the opening lap, it's Adrian that leads the way. Andrea Severi on the Suzuki, despite being swallowed up at the start and being down in 5th place at one point, he has recovered the pole man up to second, with Jack Hammer firing through from the second row of the grid to take second. Here's exactly what happened then to our 3-time king, Trastevere. Yeah, just went in way too hot there. You could see the front end bobbling. He was never going to make the apex, and he had to straight line it through the gravel trap. He has recovered up to 6th, though. Meanwhile, our man that took the whole shot, Christian MM17, has dropped right to the back of the pack as a result of that crash. It's a long way forward now for the LCR Honda man.
Yeah, it certainly is a long way forward. You can never win the championship in the first race of the season, but you can certainly lose it and make it a much harder for yourself. Somehow Davide Galigna has picked up a long lap penalty. We're not too sure how that one happened. We'll have to see his progress, and possibly that will give a position to Christian when he does indeed take that. I'm bored with Andrea Severi then. On debut with Suzuki, running in second here. He'll certainly be pleased about that so far. Just as though he can see Adrian maybe escaping at the front. Let's see what he can do. He's been quick in practice today as well.
Tatigo has gone down for the second time. A real shame for the Indonesian making his debut with the Gresini squad. Great to see some Southeast Asian competitors flying the flag once again. Of course, Tatigo joins the long, illustrious line of eSport gamers from that region, including Moe, Sancho Queen, we've seen in the past as well. So not the best start for the number 46, but he's certainly showcased his form throughout practice and qualifying to show that he'll be able to contend at some stage throughout this longest ever Global Series campaign.
And Cam, I'm sure that at some point in your career you've had a really good start and it's all gone wrong very quickly. How do you keep your head composed in these sorts of situations?
It's definitely tough. You know, obviously there's ups and downs with racing. I can speak from experience, having a lot of success over in Moto America and stuff like that, and coming over here and and yeah, getting my butt kicked, learning everything, learning the tracks and the bike and all that stuff last year. But we are progressing, and it feels really, really good to make progress. And I feel like just finding those steps and making those steps, it's really motivating. So oh, big crash.
That's Tatigo that went down, probably the second of his offs, the Indonesian, and that is an age-old motto in the wet conditions, Cam. Make sure you stay off the curbs.
Andrea is really keeping Adrian honest right now. I'd almost rather be in his position. Adrian setting the pace in a tricky condition, and yeah, he's got a good reference up ahead.
He certainly does, and just as we clicked onto lap 4, here's Adrian that set the fastest lap of the race. Oh, now Christian's actually just come through. So the Montenegro brothers are firing now on lap 4. The both of them on the Repsol Honda and the LCR Honda have taken the fastest lap. Oh, Piero Ricciuti's gone down. So the factory Ducati man, the man that has stepped into that full factory red seat, well, his race has had a very early setback.
It has big time. Runner-up in 2021 was the young Italian. A lot of pressure coming into this year, and maybe I think that's a second crash actually for him as well. The number 5 dropping down the order even further now, so his 11th is Piero Ricciuti. We did not expect to see this from him at all. Finished 2021 with back-to-back podiums at the final round, which made sure he finished as runner-up to this man, Trastevere, but it's been a disastrous start for both Italians. Trastevere, our 3-time king, and the runner-up, Piero Ricciuti, in 2021. Trastevere is starting to recover a number of places, though, already up to 4th place, and a shout-out to the VR46 rookie behind as well. Spada Longo on debut inside the top 5 is some performance so far.
Yeah, there's certainly plenty of good rides. As you rightly mentioned there, Jack, Spada Longo, we do cut on board with him on the VR46 Ducati. But behind him, he has Vindex, who returns to the Global Series for the first time since 2018. And you may think, well, why didn't he qualify for the last couple of years? Well, he still wasn't any slouch. He actually won the Rising Stars Series the last 2 years running, and was Monster Energy Yamaha's reserve rider for those years as well. So certainly slipping straight back into the old pair of slippers, up in 6th, doing very well indeed.
Just keeping him honest is Andrea Severi, as you rightly said, Cam, but at the moment Adrian is just holding that gap pretty steady. It's not really fluctuated too much, either upwards or downwards. You would say with half race distance about to be completed once they come across the line, Adrian is certainly in the favourable position at the moment. He looks to be able to handle that pressure of Severi breathing down his neck.
Yeah, I'd say if I were him, I'd get to the maybe 3 laps to go or so, and really put on the charge and see if he can really close the gap on Adrian.
It's all about applying as much pressure as possible. We've seen in MotoGP eSport before that the opening couple of laps are so crucial, because these guys, there's very, very little difference between them all. In qualifying, often the front 4 rows of the grid can be split by less than a second. It's all about pressuring the man in front into a mistake and then trying to capitalise on that. And that's exactly what we're going to see Severi do. Although he does look as close as he has done with now just 5 laps remaining.
Yeah, he's certainly turning the wick up a little bit as we do cut on board with him. Lovely shots from the helmet cam here, I do believe. Now we look back to him as they flick through into turn 2. But one person to actually mention that we haven't even mentioned yet, the man in 3rd, Jack Hammer, on the full factory KTM, the Red Bull KTM machine, doing incredibly well. So many people throughout practice and pre-practice qualifying here this weekend for the Global Series tipped this man as one to win this opening race of the day. And even though he's not doing that at the moment, this is still an incredibly impressive performance.
The form book said this is exactly what we should expect. Adrian has won the opening race of the Global Series in both 2020 and 2021. With 5 laps to go, 0.6 of a second is what is preventing him from making sure it's a hat-trick of opening race victories. Meanwhile, for Andrea Severi, we said at the top before this race got underway that we've only ever been here to the Sachsenring once time before in the Global Series, and he was the victor ahead of Ricardo Battara, who's not with us this weekend, and Jack Hammer as well. That's his one and only podium in Global Series history, and if he can hang on over these next couple of laps, he's going to be able to double his tally.
Yeah, certainly very good indeed. He'll be looking to do that, exactly. Here's a man that steps into new colours this year. Of course, was riding for Avintia last year. Avintia no longer here. So, in step for the Prima Pramac Racing Squad, Mr. T, the only Australian in the Global Series. He fills that role. He's actually had a very good ride here. 8th is one of the better rides that Mr. T tends to have. So, certainly doing a great job.
Of course, as we mentioned, both fuel and tyre consumption is on here, and particularly at the Sachsenring, Cameron, you've got to be careful with that left-hand side of the tyre, because it just constantly wears away. As we get into these closing stages, we could well see, you can actually see in the bottom left-hand corner there, both the front and the rear of Andrea Severi's Michelin tyres are starting to fade away on the left-hand side. How crucial is it that you look after those tyres?
It's definitely very crucial. There's, for example, the corner they're going through right there. When the tire's fresh and new, especially in the dry, there's so much grip to be gained there, so much time to be gained there with a good fresh tire. But it does go quick, and it's funny too. Yeah, the right side of the tire, you definitely have to be careful, especially in the colder temps, just to make sure you have enough heat in the tire, or else it's pretty risky for a crash.
Well, as we say about the tyres, that might just be one of the factors why we're seeing, look at that, the corner speed through the middle of Andrea Severi on the Suzuki, closing in on the Honda now. He's certainly within striking distance. With 3 laps to go, there is plenty of time for him to make a move.
Where are you lining the move up here, Cam?
I'd say turn 1.
Well, here he goes.
Around the outside, look at that, using the Suzuki power. Adrian's going to have the inside, he's hard on the brakes, and he's just going to hold on. A little bit of a nudge to the left-hand side to let Severi know that he's there. He's going to run wide, though, an opportunity to potentially roll around the outside at turn 2 and then get it on the flick back at turn 3. Can he pull it off? No, the door slammed shut by Adrian, but with now 3 laps remaining, Severi is crawling all over the rear wheel of Adrian.
Certainly is, and that's the thing with all these direction changes. At some point, the man in front of you is going to be right in the way where you need to be exactly to get through on him. So we're seeing Adrian just using that to his advantage, defending perfectly for now.
Brilliant stuff here from the Suzuki man on debut for the Hamamatsu factory, and doing a brilliant job as well. Pole position, the 9th of his career, and he's looking to convert it into victory. So far, so good, but Adrian is defending quite brilliantly so far.
He certainly is, and when you've got someone behind you like this, Cam, what's kind of going through your head? Are you starting to panic, or is it still kind of all under control?
It's definitely an unnerving feeling, feeling a bike that close, hearing a bike that close, kind of anticipating where you think they're going to pass, but it seems like Adrian's really good on the brakes. I think Andrea, when he gets by, he really needs to drop the hammer and make sure Adrian doesn't have any room to pass him in the closing stages here. We only got 2 laps left, so we'll see what happens.
Meanwhile, there's a move in the battle for 5th. Christian MM17 up into the top 5 after his earlier off. A good recovery ride from him, as Severi once again looks to try and make a move at turn 1, but gets it ever so slightly wrong, running wide and allowing Adrian to hold on with 1.5 laps remaining. Only a 1/4 of a second separating the Spaniard and the Italian.
Yeah, this one's going to go all the way down to the wire. 1.5 laps now to go. We start these long series of left-handers, all the way through 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way up to turn 10 at the top of the hill before they drop down the waterfall. Andrea Severi on that Suzuki is going to be building now. Maybe he'll make a move down into the bottom here. It's a bit of a G-out spot where they come in really fast. He might look to the inside. I don't know if Adrian's got it covered. He does seem to have it for now. So that's one place that is gone on this lap, and they are slowly ticking away.
To make a move there, Cameron, you've got to be very brave. Meanwhile, as they get to the bottom of the hill momentarily, a much easier place to try and get a job done.
I'd say so. I definitely think there are a handful of passing places on this, but you definitely have to be aggressive. Downhill, this is one. A little risky getting into the last corner, trying to make a pass just because it falls away a little bit. I'd say turn 1 is the best bet right here.
He tried on the past 2 laps. Will it be 3rd time lucky for the Suzuki man? He tucks in behind Adrian, who hugs the white line on the right-hand side, going defensive as we now start the final lap. No way through for Severi at this final time of asking at turn number 1. He's going to have to conjure something up elsewhere around this Sachsenring circuit. Otherwise, Adrian will be taking the opening win of 2022. Can he look through at turn 3? No way through there.
So one big passing place is gone. Time for Adrian to take a big breath, compose himself, take all this momentum through these fast left-handers, make sure he doesn't make a single mistake, and hopefully, just hopefully, he might be able to hold off the man that is chasing him down this whole race long.
These two have got previous as well. In 2021, they were separated by the smallest margin in Global Series history at Phillip Island. Adrian getting the better on that day, Can Severi come up with something in this final half a lap to take the opening win of 2022? He looks up the inside again, tries to show his front wheel, but again, the door is slammed shut by Adrian. They flick right down the hill. This, probably the best opportunity left for the Suzuki man, but it looks as though Adrian's got enough in tow.
2 corners to go. It's not going to be here. It's going to be all about the final corner. We said, watch out for the last corner, last lap, but is he close enough? I don't think he is. It might just be Adrian that holds on.
Here we go into the final corner. He's gone wide as Severi. That's it, game over. And after taking the opening wins of 2020 and 2021, the Repsol Honda man continues his fine form at the opening race of a global series. Victory goes the way of Spain's Adrian, ahead of a valiant effort from Andrea Severi, with Jack Hammer onto the podium for just the second time in his fledgling eSport career. Brilliant ride from Jack Hammer. Trastevere and Christian MM17 completing the top 5. Brilliant recovery rides from then. In 9 races time when we get to Valencia, we may well be saying that 4th and 5th place for the pair of them was absolutely vital, Jack.
Yeah, absolutely. We all know that it's about being consistent in the MotoGP eSport Global Series, and that's exactly what they're going to have to be. But those top 2 guys, Adrian and Andrea Severi, 2 former champions that lost their crowns in the 2 succession years that have been so far, well, they're making a big, big statement here on the opening night.
Certainly were very impressive stuff from the pair of them. No surprise to see Adrian taking victory ahead of Severi and Jack Hammer. Cameron, what did you make of that one? It was a tense finish in the end. I thought a move was going to come.
No, that was really impressive. An impressive lap by Adrian, that last lap. All these guys, it's pretty impressive, just the control they have all race long, especially in wet conditions like that. It's pretty cool. I gotta go home and need some practice.
Here are the final standings then of our opening race of 10 in 2022. Adrian taking victory ahead of Suzuki's Andrea Severi and KTM's Jack Hammer. Trast eventually recovering to 4th ahead of Christian MM17. Findex, Spadalongo, Piero Ricciuti, Darkbright and Mr. TFTW inside the top 10, with Davide Galinha eventually dropping down to 11th ahead of Indonesia's Tati Go. A valid performance from him in his MotoGP eSport debut.
Well, you've got to say, Jack, that we did promise there would be a little bit of chaos in that opening race, and it certainly delivered. On lap 1 and all throughout the rest of it, there was plenty of action to be seen, and hopefully very, very shortly indeed we can show you the highlights of that very first race of the 2022 Global Series. But you have to say as well, there might be a few disappointed faces. One, particularly Piero Ricciuti on his debut in full factory red. 8th place is not exactly what he would have wanted, but I'm sure that he will rebound later on as we go racing in Mugello just in about 20 minutes time.
He starts that one from the front row of the grid, and he's got previous at Mugello as well, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him bouncing back. But first blood goes the way of Adrian in 2022. The Repsol Honda man forges forward as he tries to reclaim the crown that he lost in 2021 to Trastevere, the 2020 king, back on track in 2022. Here's a roundup of exactly what we've seen in our opening race at the Saxon.
So then it was lights off and engines ready to go for race 1 of the 2022 Global Series. It was a great launch off pole position from Andrea Severi, but it wasn't as good as the 2 Montenegro brothers. Christian MM17 on the LCR Honda, his first race for that team, launched through for the whole shot with his brother Repsol Honda Adrian firing through to 2nd as well. One of the key moments of the race was when our 3-time champion Trastevere had to straight line it. Luckily for him, he managed to keep it upright and rejoined just outside of the top 5, eventually recovering through to 4th place, but it could have been so much worse for Trastevere. At the front, Adrian started to pull clear, but pressure then came from behind, with Suzuki's Andrea Severi starting to find his form after a bit of a sluggish start. Further back, there was a crash for Tati Go, the Indonesian just finding the curbs on the exit in the final sector and spat over the top. And this is what the picture was for the final couple of laps. Adrian holding off Severi, despite the Suzuki man throwing absolutely everything at the Repsol Honda. That was the crash for our man that finished runner-up last year, Piero Ricciuti. A disappointing debut for him in the Ducati colours.
But the final laps are all about these two, Adrian and Severi, not for the first time in Global Series history, going toe-to-toe. And once again, it was Adrian that got the better. After taking the opening wins of the 2020 and 2021 Global Series, the Spaniard has got himself a hat-trick with victory in the wet at the Saxon.
Superb rides from those top three then, and that is race 1 for 2022 done. And Cam, I just have to ask you, because you are quite fast yourself, do you reckon you could have lived with those guys there with that race pace?
Definitely not. I'd probably be on the floor first lap 6 times or so. So, no, impressive stuff, like I said.
We appreciate your time anyway. Very, very much enjoyed having you with us. And best of luck for the rest of the weekend here at Mugello. Hopefully we'll see you celebrating on Sunday afternoon.
All right, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Not a
Thanks,
problem.
Gav.
Back down to you, Gav, who's with our race 1 winner, Adrian.
Yeah, what a start to the season. What a nail-biter. Thanks so much to Cam Bobier for joining us on that. But I've got to say congratulations to Adrian 26. So if he wants to come up, if I can just get the award. So every race winner this year is going to receive a new set of Oakleys as one of the sponsors of eSport Championship. So our race winner, and a round of applause for Adrian 26, winner in the opening round at the Saxon Ring. But he has to take his seat. We'll have another photo up here while we're at it, but he has to get going pretty quick because we're ready for round 2 already. Are we good enough? Yeah. Let's get you sat down, Adrian, and we are going to get going again with our second race. And there's been a change of rider up in the commentary booth. Another special guest alongside you, Jax.
We do have ourselves a special guest in the form of Aprilia Racing's Maverick Viñales. Maverick, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Great to have you here. And as
you,
we've
mate.
seen from our virtual races in 2020, you're a good man to have us here watching eSport because you're a podium finisher in the virtual races.
Yes.
You know what you're doing.
But not even closer to the level these guys. That is amazing. They are running so fast. It's so crazy fast.
It's incredible what they do, but it's good to have you here. You're going to be joining us for co-commentary for our second race.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, going to be joining us for a second race, and that means, well, it is basically time to start building up to that second race, and where better to start than having a look at the grid and what happened with qualifying that took place yesterday. So qualifying in Mugello, let's take a look at exactly how and why our grid looks like how it does.
For the 10th time in his MotoGP eSport career, Andreas Severi will start from pole position. Back-to-back top spots on Wednesday evening for the Suzuki man. A brilliant start to life in Hamamatsu Blue, but he's going to be put under all sorts of pressure by his compatriots Trastevere and Piero Ricciuti as they complete the front row of the grid for race 2 of the Global Series. The second row of the grid will be Christian MM17 with Davide Caligna putting in an impressive performance for Aprilia. Maverick, your man's going to start from 5th on the grid with Jack Hammer, the KTM, rounding out row 2 of the grid. The big news, the big drama in qualifying, though, came in the form of Adrian, our race 1 winner, the man that leads the championship at this current moment in time. As you can see there, will start all the way down in 9th place, the bottom of the 3rd row of the grid. A disastrous qualifying for Adrian. Can we see him fight the way through from 3rd row of the grid? We'll see momentarily. The 4th row, rounded out by Spadalongo, Mr. T, FTW, and Tati Go. So Mugello ahead of us, Maverick, for race 2. What do these guys need to be careful with? Where are the key overtaking opportunities here at Mugello?
Well, looking at the lap times, 41, this is pretty amazing.
You'll be happy with that tomorrow.
For sure, I will be on pole position anyway. But I think Mugello is very important, especially to do well the section 3, which is the most fast corner. And to have power on the main straight. So we'll see how the race it is. The slipstream also counts a lot. So we'll see if we have a super race.
Hopefully we'll have a fantastic race. So ahead of heading over to the virtual picture perfect Mugello, here's exactly what you need to know ahead of race 2 of the Global Series. Skies and sunshine of Mugello for race 2 of the Global Series. Once again, the rules remain exactly the same as what we saw in Germany earlier on tonight, with our 12 gamers looking to be careful with both their tyres and fuel consumption.
Yes, Jack's right to mention tyres and fuel consumption as we head to Mugello, one of the trickiest tracks on the calendar, and it's a long one too at 5.2 kilometres. 9 right turns, and it's evened up with fairly even numbers of left turns as well. 6 of those, and it's certainly going to be careful with the direction changes. There are plenty of them down through Casanova, Savelli, later on into Scarperia as well. We're here in real life, and it's time to head there virtually too. Mugello is ready to round us out on round 1 of the Global Series.
The final opportunity for our 12 gamers to bite back after the opening race of 2022. Here we go then, it's time to go racing at the magnificent Mugello.
So Mugello, of course, then it's only fitting that we go racing there in the virtual world with this global series at round 1, as we are here in real life as well, and it's beautiful here today. And it is beautiful, as you can see there as well. For the virtual world, 29 degrees, it's certainly going to be a toasty one. 52 degrees of track temperature, that's certainly going to make tyre choice quite a little predicament for them. You might see some of the guys going for a hard front tyre. Maverick, we know that tyre choice in MotoGP in real life is always tricky. When you see 52 degrees of track temperature, what comes into your head?
Yeah, I think you are really right in the front. You should go for the hard because it's the best option. But on the rear, I'm not sure. Let's see, medium, also good choice. So we'll see how the tires stay. But I'm very excited. So I want to see the
well,
race.
Let's see the
My
race.
My teammate is medium, so it's well choice.
Medium then for Davide Gallinia on the Aprilia. With Jack Hammer there with a hard front and a medium rear on the KTM.
Third row of the grid, Vindex on the with you, Yamaha Dark Brights with Tech Trois, and then that's rounded out by the man to keep your eye on. Our race 1 winner, Adrian, who goes with medium. Interestingly, so far, the only 2 men to opt with the hard front tyre. Will it come into their own as we get into the latter stages of this race? The man in the middle of the front row, Trastevere, and the man at the back of the second row of the grid, Jack Hammer, the Italian and our sole Brit on the grid, opting with the hard front. Once again, it's Severi that starts from pole position. With it, Suzuki on home soil, the Bologna man fires away, but it looks as though our 3-time king Trastevere has got the better jump. Meanwhile, disaster off the start. Our race 1 winner, Adrian, has crashed out already. It will be at the front. Severi that takes the whole shot, only just. Trastevere taking some curb on the inside. Meanwhile, fighting through there into third spot is Piero Ricciuti, and then he's going to dive under the inside of Trastevere. And it looks as though we've got a few technical problems here. Race direction just letting us know that as a result of that crash for Adrian off the start line, we're going to have a restart. So everyone back into order, back into line.
So obviously the revs have been up, and also the heart rate. Maverick, I'm sure you've been in this scenario before where you've had to restart after the first lap. How do you calm down and regroup in this?
Is this moment where the sweet becomes cold. Because you say, okay, I passed this moment, now I need to repeat it again. But yeah, it looks like something strange for Adrian, so let's go for it again.
Yeah, a few technical problems there. Our guys in the truck are just working through them, but importantly, it was a brilliant start from Severi from pole position. We saw that he made a real mess of the start when we went to the Saxon ring just a few moments ago, so that will be a big confidence boost going into this second restart once we get it underway, that he is able to get that Suzuki off the line. Next time round, we saw Trastevere there looking up the inside. He was pushing big time. Couldn't get the job done. What will he have learnt there from that opening start?
I thought he was making the job in the second corner, but it was very nice. It was very nice.
He was, yeah, certainly making moves, as you do see there. Trastevere just cooling down the hands, trying to get the sweat off them. And in the background there, in the Ducati shirts, Piero Ricciuti made a pretty brilliant start up through turn 1, hugged it tight around San Donato, and looked as though he just snuck up into third place there. So not too bad either from the man that we did see there. But I mean, Jack, you know, there's so many people here that could benefit or also lose out on a good start or a bad start. It's a full restart and another lottery again.
Exactly, an opportunity for everyone to get it right this time around. We saw this actually, a few issues at our Global Series finale, just adding to the tension in Valencia at the end of 2021. And in the end, that did go in the favour of Trastevere. He didn't get the perfect start, the perfect jump. the first time around, but he made amends in that second start and eventually went on to be crowned champion. So here we go then, the same grid as what we saw last time, and the tyre choice will be exactly the same. We mentioned it before, we'll mention it again. The hard front tyre going the way of Trastevere and Jackhammer, so keep your eye on them. But all eyes, of course, will be on the front row of the grid. Andrea Severi, a 10th career pole position, his 3rd at Mugello. He has tasted victory here before, all the way back in 2019. That was the victory that kick-started his charge towards the 2019 eSport Championship. The last time we came here in 2021, it was the man to his right, Trastevere, that took victory.
Let's go.
Here we go then, second time of asking. Severi will once again fire from pole position, and he once again, well, doesn't get the best start. A big wheelie off the line, and that's going to hand the opportunity to Trastevere. Once again, a few issues with Adrian there, the Repsol Honda man. It appears has crashed out. Let's see how we get on during these opening couple of corners. It looks as though we're going to have a red flag again, unfortunately, as a result of that Adrian crash. So we are going to have another red flag, which is a disaster for Andrea Severi. He's got another brilliant start. He's absolutely romping clear, but unfortunately, there goes the red flag, and we will have a 3rd restart. Far from ideal for these guys, not helping the nerves at all, Maverick.
Not at all, because it's a situation that you cannot control. So it's always difficult, but anyway, they have practice to start.
Exactly.
The 3rd one is the nice one.
Well, that is always the one silver lining. Of course, there's a little bit more time for them to practice and make sure that they learn on those few things that maybe went wrong in the first 2 starts and nail this 3rd one that's coming up for us very, very shortly indeed. Once we do hear word from our race directors, we'll let you know once the race is getting back underway, but it should be very shortly, maybe just a minute or so.
So in terms of what we can look out for throughout the course of 2022, then a lot of you might remember that at the start of 2021, we saw 4 riders win the opening 4 races for the very first time in eSport history. We also saw 7 different riders on the podium as well for the first time in eSport history. As we mentioned at the start of the show, more riders than ever this time around, so an opportunity for even more winners and even more men on the podium. And looking at free practice, Jack, and in qualifying as well, it's a real mixed bag. I mean, Adrian, our race 1 winner, all the way down in 9th. That's pretty much what we see in MotoGP at the moment, Maverick. Just how difficult is it going to be for these guys to be challenging at the top one weekend and fighting to get inside the top 10 the next?
Actually, it's super difficult to keep the right concentration for a long time. And I know these guys are even more tough, because at the end it's only 8 laps, and this is the really tough thing. So I'm curious to see how the race it goes, but I think mentally the e-games are super tough, and you can see the level they run on the track is such amazing. And I see the lines are super similar.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
The consistency is the big thing. They're so accurate in everything that they do, from the braking markers to accelerating as well.
Correct.
They do a magnificent job to these guys. So here we go then, 3rd time lucky, Jack.
Let's hope.
And Andrea Severi will once again be hoping that he can make a perfect start. The poor guy has been absolutely dynamite off the line. First time around, second time around. He'll be bitterly disappointed if he's caught out at this 3rd time of asking.
Yeah, he certainly will be then, as we round out the final 2 rows of our grid. Of course, we need to remind ourselves once more that it is Adrian that goes from 9th. And in his championship year, he actually qualified on pole 7 times. And then when he lost it last year, he only took 1 pole. So if that tells you anything about pole position and qualifying in the MotoGP eSport Global Series, well, it's going to tell you that it is vitally important.
Here we go then, race 2 of the 2022 Global Series. Take 3, Andrea Severi once again from pole position. It is lights on and eventually lights out, and we are underway in Mugello. Severi firing away, and unfortunately Adrian has gone down at the back again. A great shame here, having a few technical bugs, a few gremlins are getting into the system. Big crash there, wow. Piero Ricciuti involved. We also saw Trastevere go wide, but we are going to see another red flag. A great shame. Hopefully we can get these gremlins sorted and finally get this final race of the evening underway. You can see everyone just backing off there, and we will be getting underway hopefully very soon. Our guys may well be onto the stage shortly just to sort these technical problems. You can see race direction info along the bottom of your screen there, just explaining exactly what's going on.
Well, if it means anything, Jack, it means that the first 3 corners these guys are going to have absolutely perfect by the time we come to actually get this race going and underway. They're going to be absolutely flying through that first sector. And it was a point that Jack actually mentioned before the latest restart that's so impressive about this MotoGP eSport Global Series, with just how open it is with various winners and also podium contenders and challengers. And as you do rightly say, Jack, there's going to be more than ever. And it reminds us of MotoGP. What do we already have this year? Is it 10 podium finishes, 11 podium finishes, maybe? You know, Maverick, I'm sure that at some point you're going to add your name to that list for your first with Aprilia as well. And, well, it's a big weekend as well, because yesterday, the news, 2 more years with Aprilia. You must be pretty happy indeed.
Yes, it is great times for Aprilia and also for me and for my former teammate. We are enjoying a lot the time. We are enjoying a lot the performance of the bike, because at the end we have to remember that here you enjoy if you win. So this is a very nice thing, because everything is going really good. Everything is going on a clear direction, and this is what we want and what we expect for Aprilia, because it's a really great factory, and I just feel Aprilia deserves the best. And I have a question about the e-games that I don't know if you can tell me.
No,
fire away. We'll
we'll do our best.
It changed the bike if you change the riding style or not?
No, so every bike is balanced out so that no rider or no gamer gets a performance advantage.
Okay.
Say, for example, here at Mugello, the guys riding the Ducati are able to blast their way past. Every bike is exactly the same. There's no characteristics of the bike as well, so the difference between your V4s and your inline 4s, they both perform in exactly the same manner, which is good, because obviously for us watching, we can see pretty close racing.
But I saw that some riders use different riding style. This is
Yes, you
influence on the bike or not?
It doesn't influence the bike. It's just for pure looks and aesthetics. So,
okay.
So say if you wanted to maybe go for the old school riding style, which is in the game that Kevin Schwantz or Mick doing, you can certainly go for that. As we're just hearing in our ears that we are hopefully going to get underway for the 4th time of asking this time. So as we do count down to another restart, let's keep our fingers crossed that this second race of the 2022 MotoGP eSport Global Series does go ahead without a hitch.
So here we go, once again back at the Autodromo Internazionale del Mugello. The picture-perfect Mugello, settled in between the Tuscan hills. I'm just looking over the camera that's facing us, and you can see the greenery just making its way along the landscape. It is a beautiful setting here, in real life and in virtual life as well. A reminder then of your front row of the grid. Severi on the Suzuki, Trastevere on the Yamaha, Ricciuti on the Ducati. Row 2 of the grid, Christian MM17 on the LCR Honda. Don't forget he got the whole shot at the opening race of the day. Davide Galinia with the Aprilia, and then Jack Hammer on the KTM, who just finished 3rd at the Sachsenring. Row 3 of the grid, Vindex, Darkfront and Adrian. There he is, the Repsol Honda man. He's the man that everyone has got their eyes on for more reason than one. The championship leader has also been the man that's had a few technical gremlins, so hopefully this is the time that we eventually get underway with that final row of the grid. Spadalongo, Mr. TFTW and Tati Go. So here we go then. We are underway at last in Mugello, and it's a firing start from Savevere at the front, and it looks as though Adrian is good to go as well. So we are officially racing. That is great news, and it's Andrea Saveri that will take the whole shot. He did it at the first, the second, and the 3rd time of asking, and he's done it again. But Trastevere will roll around the outside. What a move from the Yamaha man. Adrian has crashed out, but I believe that's of his own doing, unfortunately. The Repsol Honda man took in the front at the opening corner, and he's dropped right to the back of the fields now. So our race 1 winner in real trouble. Meanwhile, at the front, Saveri and Trastevere going toe-to-toe.
Yeah, absolute disaster for Adrian. I mean, such terrible luck after the bad luck he's already had in the 4 restarts we've done, and now in the real one he's crashed as well. But Trastevere, as you rightly say, Jack, looking to escape at the front. He won here in Mugello last year, and he's looking to do exactly that once more on that Monster Energy Yamaha. But as we see, the man that has missed the consistency at the moment, Andrea Saveri, all over him already.
He is. This is exactly what we saw in race number 1 as well. Severi settling into second, finding his rhythm, and then slowly but surely closing down on the race leader. This time, I think it might be a bit more challenging for him, though, because Piero Ricciuti on the Ducati is well in contention here, fighting for the lead, as is Vindex as well, and Jack Hammer. There he is up the inside, is the KTM man in the back of your picture. A great move from the young Brit as he takes 4th.
So here we go then, round down into the final corner to round out the first lap, and it is going to be Trastevere that's going to lead across the line, unless there is a mega slipstream from Andrea Severi and Piero Ricciuti. Watch out for them using the ride height device as they launch down onto the start straight, down into San Donato. And Maverick, when you are coming down here at 360 kilometers an hour, what is it like when you pop up from the bubble and hit that wind?
That's the craziest thing you can feel on a bike. And right now, with the device, we improve a lot the stability, so it's much easier. But before, wow, this was like you close the eyes and you keep full throttle.
Well,
me at 360.
You say about the stability of the Aprilia. Our good friend and colleague here at MotoGP, Simon Prather, actually tried one from last year, and he said that was the biggest thing, the stability.
Yes. And also from the front row, I think only Trastevere used the hard front tire, I think.
He did, yeah, that and Jack Hammer as well, the man in 4th at the moment. Meanwhile, while we've been talking, there has been a change to second. It looks like that's a mistake there from Andrea Severi, because Piero Ricciuti has pounced on that error and has managed to elevate himself through into second. So not going to plan for the man that started from pole position. Remember, he started race 1 from pole and could only manage second. Surely he's not going to fail to convert pole position again. Oh, disaster for you, Maverick. The Aprilia man has gone down.
Well, it's going to be damage limitation now then for Davide Gallinia, but look at this. We've got a bit of a procession with these guys, second all the way through to 5th. Vindex chasing them up with Jack Hammer as well in 4th. This one could certainly close up if they start closing in those times.
Here we go then, through Biondetti 1 and 2. These guys will be rolling down in towards the final corner. Bacchini momentarily with Ricciuti, as we said, now up to second place. That advantage for Trastevere as they come across the line will be just over 3/4 of a second, although Ricciuti looks as though he was carrying some great corner speed there through Bacchini to be able to close that gap. It's a good drive from the number 5, the young Italian.
Fastest lap.
Yeah, fastest lap of the race as well. Well pointed out there, Maverick. He has started to close the gap. Half a second now, so he's coming. He's Ricciuti.
Yeah, hard to tell exactly what the fastest lap is there, but certainly a quick one. It was actually Christian MO17 that nicked him off it in the end. But Piero Ricciuti is the man in second, and he is the danger man. We call him the wild child, and that is exactly what he is. He's certainly going to make a move. He gets up there, and speaking of moves, whoa, Jack Hammer looking very lively on the Red Bull factory KTM as he's all over the back of Andrea Severi on the Suzuki.
Can he make a move here on the run down into turn 4? No, he can't. In fact, this is turn 6. Casanova Savelli as they go right and then left. It'd be a brave place to go through for Jack Hammer there. He's unable to get it done, and he'll now look to wind it up through Arrabbiata 1 and Arrabbiata 2. Here he is closing in, the KTM man, carrying all sorts of corner speed. This is a great lap so far from Jack Hammer. Moves to the inside, looks for a way through, but hard on the brakes is Severi, and unfortunately has to settle for 4th at this moment. But this is a strong ride coming from the young Brit.
It certainly is. And just looking at this, Maverick, would you rather be the one that is being hunted or the hunter in this scenario? Would you rather be Andrea on the Suzuki or Jack Hammer on the KTM?
In that case, I prefer to be Jack because you can use a lot of slipstream and don't waste, don't use too much the tire. What I'm seeing is that Piero is going very fast. It's closing a little bit the gap step by step, and also Adrian is coming back very fast. So wow.
But a lot of work to do for the championship leader at this early stage. Of course, race winner from earlier on, if you're just joining us. He crashed out on the opening lap, dropping him all the way down to 12th. He has recovered 1 place as a result of Davide Gallinia's crash, but at the moment, it's far from an easy task for the Repsol Honda man to find himself up inside the top 10 or even compete with the top 5. He's going to be praying that he sees some errors at the front, but look at this train here. This is typical MotoGP eSport action. Severi, Jack Hammer, Vindex and Christian MM17 all in the fight here for the final podium place.
Yeah, it really is typical eSport action. These guys are so close on pace, even just half a tenth will make the difference and be able to close in. But half the time, they don't even have that over the competitors. Every single one of them is absolutely incredibly fast. But it does look as though Jack Hammer's starting to get busy. I wouldn't say he'd make a move through Arabiata 1, but this is eSport and not quite real life, so you never know. He might just barge him out of the way.
They are so perfect in line.
It's incredible, the
crazy. They are perfect. So I must feel it's pretty tough and mentally tough to be all the 8 laps like that.
Super difficult, but we did see just a slight error from Andrea Severi there through Scarperia. Ran ever so slightly wide and has just allowed Jack Hammer to close in a little bit more. Meanwhile, a move in the background. Christian MM17 up the inside of Vindex, and now up inside the top 5 is the LCR man. There he is, a good move on the rookie Italian, and now he's looking to charge forward and make amends of what we saw at the opening race.
It looked as though Jack Hammer took a good chunk of the green on the inside of there. Puccini through the second part of it, so he's going to have to be careful with that one. There we go, it does indeed track limits pop up, so our race director's caught that one too. But back to, well, not quite the front, but just 1.1 seconds off it with this man that's come under so much pressure, but he is still withstanding it for now.
Meanwhile, let's just check in on our leaders at the front. Trastevere still leading the way, you can see right at the top of the picture there. But Piero Ricciuti is that little bit closer once again. As you rightly said, Maverick, he's just chipping away a 10th every lap. Yes. Now just beneath 0.4 of a second. Within a couple of laps, you would imagine he's going to be within striking distance.
Trastevere is getting there. It's one sector, one is faster, the other sector, the other one is faster. And I see the competition is very close, and you can see they push every lap like qualifying. Huh? They go all the time on the same place, same moment. The precise here must be the point for being fast.
And when you're in second position like this, and you can just see that gap slowly coming down, you're chipping away, does it give you a load of confidence?
Yes. Actually, when you see the gap is you are taking, it encourages you a lot. And you found an extra 10th. Where if you are in front and you see they are gaining, you don't have this extra. And I've been in the position where I was second and getting this, and you get incredible adrenaline to make something different where the others cannot do.
Well, it's certainly going to be a nerve-wracking final 3 laps as we do now down into Puccini, and the next time we cross the line in just a few seconds, it will be 3 laps to go. Can Trastevere hold on, or will Piero Ricciuti take just his 2nd win in MotoGP eSport Global Series?
Yeah, only 1 win to the name of Piero Ricciuti, despite finishing runner-up in 2021. Trastevere, meanwhile, is the most winningest rider in history of the eSport Championship. 11 to his name so far, looking to make this number 12. Here is that fight for 3rd place then, and Christian MM17 has made another move. The LCR man has managed to find a way through on Jack Hammer, demoting the Brit to 5th, and now he'll set his sights on Severi for 3rd. This is a good recovery ride coming through from the LCR Honda man.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it seems as though he's got incredible pace. He's just having a bit of bad luck in qualifying and then early on in the race as well, and it's just seeing him lose out to those top guys at the front and just lose touch.
There's a race direction warning you can see popping up for Adrian. Reckless riding. What's happened here exactly? Well, we'll find out later on. Here's what happens between MM17 and Jack Hammer. Well, I'm not sure the Brit will be too happy with that one. There was a gap there, but it was far from a clean move from Christian MM17.
Yeah, Jack Hammer got hammered there down into Puccini on the final corner. But back to the front then. Actually, I was just about to say that gap might have creeped up, but no, it just seems to just be fluctuating.
So close, and Pierre is doing super well the last corner, so...
He is.
Let's see if he this time get the slipstream.
Is that a slight mistake there through Correntire from Trastevere? He did look very, very wide. I think he just managed to make the 2nd apex as he came back through. Again, so precise there through Biondetti 1 and 2. They're able to flick it and then ride absolutely incredibly.
As you pointed out, Maverick, the slipstream might just be this. Coming down into turn 1, it could be the move you said.
He goes to the inside, there's Trastevere trying to block that line. Yeah. Here comes Ricciuti though, will he be able to get enough on the brakes to make his way through? Here he goes, hard on the brakes, he's going for it, will it be contact? Oh, he's got the job done! Brilliant from Ricciuti, a slight mistake from Trastevere, a result of that pressure, and the wild child is the front. Here comes Trastevere though, back up the inside, no way through though, and this race has sparked into life with now 2 laps remaining.
Yeah, he goes. The door was on its hinge and he's absolutely absolutely kicked it off them, through to the front row, and Cassivan and Trastavere's rammed him. It's like Valentino in the Red Bull back in Assen.
Wow.
And he's through back again on the Yamaha. Trastavere back to the front.
Well, that was a little bit cheeky from Trastevere. There was a little bit of a nudge there, just pushing Ricciuti wide, and then he was able to capitalise through turn 5. Here we go then, in towards Arrabbiata 1, and the pair are absolutely inseparable. There's a long history between these two. We've got the experienced veteran Italian, 3 times a MotoGP eSport champion, and then the young up-and-coming Piero Ricciuti trying to steal away the glory from Trastevere. It's going to be a one-lap, last-lap showdown between the pair of them. Strap yourselves in.
Maverick, in this situation, what are you thinking? What's going through your head?
And in this situation, you have to be the maximum aggressive you can be inside the rules, because it's last lap. Everything counts in last lap.
Inside the rules, I like that little touch.
But Trastevere did so well. He reacts so well. So it will be good last lap.
Well, we're about to come onto it now. Slingshot opportunity and down the start straight. Jack takes it to the last lap.
Here we go then, 1 lap remaining of Mugello. As you rightly pointed out, Jack, Ricciuti going high, wide and handsome to try and get the perfect drive down towards the opening corner. Will he go left? Will he go right? He's once again going to look to try and squeeze through on the brakes, but Trastevere super strong there on the run towards San Donato, and he will hold on to the lead.
So it's going to be tricky then. He's not, surely not. Oh, he looked up the inside. I didn't think it was possible through there. Now he's a little bit deep into 2. That's going to compromise him on the exit of turn 3. This could just be the gap that Trastevere needs.
Ricciuti needs to be careful as well. He's already got 4 track limits warnings. 1 more on this final lap, and he will be handed a time penalty. So if he's going to get the move done, he has to make sure he's inside track limits. Here we go then, in towards turn 6 and 7 for the final time of Asken, and it looks as though Trastevere has been able to eke out just enough here, 2 or 3 bike lengths. Can he hold on to that? Will that be enough in this final half a lap?
Maverick, where would you make the move if you get close enough?
Last corner.
Last corner. It's the last corner then.
It's going to be difficult. Trastevere is now very precise and very fast, so there is a gap.
There certainly is. That gap has just creeped up to just under 0.4 of a second, and that is definitely too much for a lunge, but you never know. Piero Ricciuti, we do call him the wild child for a reason. Look at that, deep into Correntino, trying to get the run. Keep it tight on the exit here, flick it through Bacini 1 and 2, and then it's all about the final corner.
1 corner to go then. I don't think it's going to be enough for Ricciuti. From what we've seen over the previous 7 laps, nobody's been able to drag the man in front towards the start-finish line. It's going to have to take something pretty special here, or a mistake from Trastevere as they apply the gas 1 final time out of the last corner. Trastevere is surely going to hold on here. The 3-time king pulls a wheelie across the line, and it's victory for the Italian on home soil ahead of Piero Ricciuti. A valiant effort from the Ducati man, and just look what it means to Trastevere. He's pumped up. He loves that one.
Incredible ride then from Trastevere as we eventually did get that race underway. What a battle between the two of them, the factory Yamaha man and the factory Ducati man. Maverick, what do you make of that?
Well, I think it was a superb race for Trastevere. He fighted so hard, especially 2 laps to go. I think there he win the race. And congrats, amazing race.
As you say, brilliant from Trastevere, the mark of a champion. When he got past, to bite back immediately.
In the next corner. So amazing. Very, very excited, honestly. I was like, come on, what is going to happen?
And it sets up the championship perfectly as well. Trastevere not even on the podium in the opening race of the day. And then he wins race number 2 on home soil. Here is the move that won it. Through turns 4 and 5, bit of a nudge there. It did push Ricciuti offline, and then he was able to capitalise. If you're the wild child, you might not be best pleased with that one, but you can see him applauding in the background. That's great to see. Piero Ricciuti offers his congratulations to his compatriot. 1st and 2nd, only 1 win to the name of Ricciuti so far, but if he can continue performing like that, there's going to be plenty to come throughout this 2022 Global Series. Right, let's take a look then at the results of that opening race of 2022. We can officially confirm who has won, who's on the podium, and where Adrian, our race 1 winner, eventually managed to recover to. Trastevere victorious in the end by over 1/4 of a second. from Piero Ricciuti, with Andrea Severi holding off late pressure from Christian MM17 to take back-to-back podiums on the opening night of the Global Series. Jack Hammer takes the final place inside the top 5, with Vindex, Mr. TFTW, Spadalongo, Adriana, race 1 winner, eventually 9th, and Dark Bright 10th, with Davide Galigna, not the performance you'd have liked to have seen Maverick from the Aprilia man in 11th, for crash costing him dearly, as it did for Tatigo, the Indonesian. Valuable experience for him, though, as we go into the next 8 races over the coming weeks and months.
Well, Jack, I think Trastevere in that race just personified the old motocross term of if you can't get rounded, then you may as well go through him. Just barged him right off the line. Fantastic performance from those top guys. And I have to give a shout out as well to a few others down the field. Mr. T having a very strong ride there, just 5.9 seconds off the win. Great debut for him in his Pramac Ducati colours for the first time. And hopefully we'll be able to see those highlights very, very shortly. Indeed, we can actually see them now. So here's the highlight of that second race in Mugello that we have just seen. And let's recount exactly what happened.
For the second time tonight, Andreas Severi fired his Suzuki from pole position, and he was able to take the whole shot ahead of a determined Trastevere, who tried his level best to squeeze up the inside. Second into third place was Piero Ricciuti, who managed to stay out of trouble. Meanwhile, in the background, having won just moments earlier, Adrian was caught out, trying to go around the outside, had nowhere to go, running into the back of Vindex, I believe it was there, and our race 1 winner, in the matter of seconds, was dropped to the back of the grid. We saw some early fighting for second and third between Ricciuti and Severi, with the Ducati man coming up with a brilliant move there to roll around the outside of the pole man to take second with only 2 laps completed. Then the chase began, Ricciuti chipping away at Trastevere, a 10th here, a 10th there. Before then, in the closing stages, we saw just a handful of moments between the pair of them. That, of course, was the crash for Tatigo. And here was the move then for the lead, with only 2 laps remaining. Just got his front wheel in front of Trastevere there and was able to squeeze through. But then Trastevere bounced back just a handful of corners later. A little bit of a nudge on the rear wheel sent the Ducati man wide, and then he was able to pound through turn 5, pulling a wheelie over the line, withstanding the pressure from Ricciuti to take win number 12 of his eSport career. He extends his advantage out as the most winningest rider in history. Ricciuti will be happy to take second, though, no doubt, and Severi extremely happy for back-to-back podiums. Let's then head down to Gav on the stage, who's with our race 2 winner, Trastevere.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jack. What a race that was in the end. It really lit up towards the end. But our reigning champion is the winner of race 2, Tras73, Trastevere. Lorenzo, come up here, Lorenzo. Come on, I want to give him the Oakley Prize, as we say, every race winner this year. Let's give him a round of applause as well for that great victory. Well done there. So, already got the set of Oakleys on, but you get another set for that. But, Lorenzo, you're also leading the championship after those first 2 races. It's my understanding of things. First of all, talk us through that second race there. That was a tough fight with Piero.
Yeah, no, it was an incredible race. I was going to field now. It's incredible because the race pace was not very, very fast, but in the most important race, no, during now is difficult to find the smooth, the real smooth. So it's good like this. Piero was very strong. When he passed me, I remained calm. I tried to not study, but try to. The Mugello is every time no change of direction. So I tried to go inside him. Going to the inside is better. And it's incredible. Incredible victory. Very difficult in succeeding, but now let's see with the virtual race. Very happy also because last year I won, this year also. So Mugello is incredible for me. I like a lot. Good.
Yeah, it's great for us as well. For an Italian to do it at home here, congratulations,
thank you.
Tras73 on that victory. Jack and Jack, what a way to start with 2 home winners. I suppose Adrian won the first, did he? But we had a home winner in the second race.
The fact that we had ourselves a home winner at long last all of our fans here in Mugello can go home happy. Maverick, absolute pleasure to have you with us in the commentary box here.
Thank you so much.
Best of luck for the rest of the weekend, and hopefully we'll see you checking out some of our eSport events in the near future.
Sure, I love the eSports, and I'm happy for Trastevere, good friend of mine from the past. So.
Well, you're certainly welcome back anytime you want, Maverick. It'll be a pleasure.
Sure, I come, for sure.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you,
and
guys.
as Maverick heads off into the Mugello evening, let's take a look then at the championship standings at the end of this opening night of eSport action. If my pretty poor mental arithmetic is going to keep me in good stead, I think it's pretty tight at the top. Only 2 points separating Trastevere and Andrea Severi following our opening night of action. Let's take a look at these championship standings then. Hopefully they will be popping up very shortly, because I believe that 38 points. There we go. Look at that. My maths GCSE keeping me in good stead. 38 points for Trastevere. Just 2 points back is Andrea Severi, with Adrian 6 points adrift, unable to cash in from that first victory at the Saxon Ring. Piero Ricciuti only 10 adrift in 4th. Jack Hammer 5th. As we go down the top 12, Christian MM17, Vindex, Spadalongo, Mr. T, Dark Bright, Davide Galinia and Tati Go. But only 30 points splitting top to bottom, meaning that, as you can expect, it's all to play for. Jack, what a pleasure it's been, the opening night of eSport action in the bank, and we've been treated to 2 last lap thrillers.
Yeah, we certainly have, particularly that second race. It was well worth waiting for after all the technical glitches and hiccups, and it certainly did not disappoint. We've got 8 more races for you, though, coming up later on in the year, and as the season rolls on, you'll see those points gaps, I'm sure, grow and expand as we do expect them to. But for now, we're going to have to say goodbye to you. Thank you very much for watching along, and we also need to say goodbye to our good friend and the man that's hosted this show this evening, Gavin, down on the stage.
Cheers, Jack, for that. What a start to the season then. The MotoGP eSport Global Series is go. We've had 2 fantastic races, and we want you to join us for the next event. That will take place on the 1st of July, when all these 12 gamers behind me will be taking on the circuits of Le Mans and Assen. So 2 classic venues for them to get stuck into next time. It's been brilliant having you join us. I hope you have a really good rest of your evening. It's all about the racing. It's all about the game. We hope you've enjoyed it. Stick with us for the next round. Thanks for joining us.